This is our video for multi-view sketching, and multi-view is often also called orthographic views. And you don't need to write this down yet. I'll tell you when you need to start writing. Basically, multi-views are showing flat two-dimensional views. So like a front view or a top view. Here's an example of a real-life object. This should look like an isometric view to you that we've been working on. And these are multi-views. For instance, what would the chair look like straight from the front, the top, or a side? One thing I want to point out right now is, am I learning new information on this side compared to that side? Well, basically they're just reflections of each other, so I'm not getting any new information from this one over here. Generally in engineering, we do at most 3 views: front, top, and right side. So you have a picture that has this on here. I'm going to tell you what to write in a second. This is our isometric view. And you don't need to write this yet. This would be where we'd put the top view, and if I take the top view and tilt it down, this is what the front view looks like. If I take the front view and tilt it over, this is what the side view looks like. Don't copy it yet. Alright, now I want you to, on this slide, just label top view, front view, and right side view. Make your labels kind of small so that you'll have room to do some more on here. Pause if you need to. Okay, now I want you to take and get 3 colors, and I want you to write depth, width, and height on this side over here. Now use the same color you use for height here. Draw these lines in with a ruler and write height here. Notice that the same height here on the front view is the same height I can see on this side. This line right here also lines up perfectly over there. So we can see the height in the front and the side. Now take your width color and do this one. Draw the lines and label the width in the front and the top. And you don't have to draw this little bit here. We'll do this again in a second. But basically the depth can be seen in the top and the side. And if I take them and project them up, they're going to make a perfect 45-degree angle. Again, you don't have to draw this over the top of our picture right here, but we'll see how this works on the next one. Okay, an important thing is learning how to choose the right base level. I want you to take a second, pause the video, and copy this down. When I pick which side needs to be the front, it needs to be the most natural position to set it in. It needs to show the best shape and characters. It needs to have the longest dimension, fewest hidden lines, and most stable. So on here, if we were looking at this piece, this would be the best front view from this side, because this side gives us the best shape. There's no hidden edges if we look at it from this side. This is the longest dimension. And this sitting here is the most natural position. If I turned it upside down, it would tend to tip back and forth. So that's the most natural position. Sometimes we don't need to have all 3 views. We don't need all 3 if it's just one thickness. For instance, this is just a flat piece of metal, and they just cut this shape out. If I look at it from the side, it's literally going to be 1/8 of an inch thick, and it's not going to give me any more information. I'd only need 1 view of this. I also only need 1 view if I've got something that's just a cylinder. This is like a little, several cylinders stacked up here together. Going from the side, I can get the diameters. This means diameter. Of these guys, I can get the lengths. That's all I would need. If I did here, I would have 2 views that are identical. If I roll a cylinder on the side, it still looks the same. And I can get all the dimensions on 1 view. Sometimes I only need 2 views. For instance, this is a square with a post sitting on top of it. By going the top view and the front view, I get all the dimensions I would possibly need. Because this view is symmetrical, the third view would be identical to the front view, and we wouldn't need anything else. Other than to get the second view to get the depth, that's all we need. Alright, we're going to be drawing this, and I've given you this little guy here. Don't glue this in yet. I'm going to tell you when to glue this in. You're going to be drawing those, so get your ruler out. Okay, again, don't glue this in yet. Just have this sitting to the side. Draw a line across the bottom of your page with your ruler. All these lines right now are construction lines, so how should you draw them? That's right, draw them absolutely as light as possible. When you're doing construction lines, you're basically just laying the pencil on the paper and letting the weight of the pencil drag along the line and leave just a little bit of lead on your paper. Extremely light as you can do it and still be able to see it. Okay, you're going to go up 5 blocks and then do the next line. So make a line on your paper, move up 5 squares and then do another line. Do a vertical line. Move over 8 squares and do a vertical line. Pause the video as you need to. So far we've got 5 and 8. Move over another 5 here and do this one. And another 5 here and do this one. This is 5 up. And this is 5 up from there. So pause for a minute, get all your lines in there. This is 8. All the other lines are spaced out 5, 5, 5, and 5, and 5. You should end up with a 45-degree line right here. All this should be done with a pencil. All of this should be done lightly. Don't shade these in. This is where we're going to have our front view, our top view, and our right side view in a minute. Okay, we're going to go through and sketch these in. And I'm going to show you what each one of these lines is so that you can draw it in as we go. This line right here is this flat surface. So this is going to be our front view, which is this side here, and we need to draw this line right here. We're still doing these as construction lines, so they're still very, very light. We're going to use these as guidelines later. Notice that this line right here extends across the front into the side. This line right here is this vertical portion right here. Notice it extends from the front up to the top. Okay, this is the edge of this little slit, and I can see it in the side. It goes up to the 45 and in the top. Now we're going to start drawing in, you've drawn in all these construction lines they have here. Now we're going to start doing object lines. So what I do is I usually start on the front, and I say, okay, well I can see this line coming down. That's that one. Then from there it goes across the bottom. That's this one. We're now making object lines. So these are now your dark lines. You should be using a ruler and be really careful that you're getting them right on top of the lines on your graph paper. Across here, up here, and close it in. So I've got this L shape on the front. Now we're going to do the side view. So we're looking at this side over here. We went across the bottom. Up this side, which I'm going to see this portion too going up. Up this side. Across the top right here. Across the top right there. This part, and that part. So we've got our basic outline. We also need this flat part across here and the little slits right here. This end is done. Now we're going to work on the top view. That's this side here, and the other side. Across here, this end, drawing the little slit. We also can see these little creases right here where it steps down. Now we need to put in our hidden lines. Where is there going to be a place where there's something in the back that's hidden in the view I'm looking at it? It's just in this one right here. This right here lines up with this over here, and this right here lines up with that. Here's a huge hint. If you've got an object line in another view, it's either going to show up like this line lines up with this one, or if it doesn't line up with anything like this one right here, it's probably a hidden line in the back. There's always going to be one in both views that lines up. If it lines up like that, it lines up over there every time. Okay, here's just an example of a historical one. You'll notice that this is the front, this happens to be the top. In this historical one, they reverse these two views, but still say basically what we were talking about. Side, or front, side, and top. Even though this is technically the front of the duck, why is this not the front of our drawing? Hopefully you're telling me because this is the longest view and this one gives the most detail. This one, even though it's the front of the duck, it doesn't give us very much detail about what this would look like. And we're going to end with a question. Study these three blocks and think about what the front, top, and sides would look like. What would they have in common? Notice that on the right side, they're all going to be the same dimensions, 3 by 3 on this side here on their overall dimensions. Anything else that's the same? That's right. The top view on each one would all look exactly the same. Think about it for a minute, and then you're done.